Hi everyone. So now we'll be starting with the session for today. First of all, hi everyone. I'm Manish Nath from Next Universe. And first of all, thank you for joining us today on this session. I hope everyone is really excited about this session and ready to be mesmerized by today's session on Fading Night Sky, which has been organized by Hex Universe in collaboration with AC Citizen Science Group. And today, to enlighten us on this topic, we have none other than Mr. Amit Raka with us here today. He is an amateur astronomer, a citizen scientist, an astrophotographer, and also the co-founder of Crux View Center. We're in to proceed to this session. Thank you, everyone.
Is my screen visible? Good evening and good morning to everyone.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, fair enough. And even I'm loud and clear?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay, sure. Let's begin with this session. So without wasting any time, let's dive into the session. Today's topic is very common, or we are seeing everywhere, that is fading night sky. Especially the amateur astronomers and researchers, they know very well what's the problem and what are they facing right now and what do they mean by fading night sky. I'm Amit Raka from Crux View Center. Basically, it is a science and astronomy center. Our session is about light. See, light pollution. So let's understand, what do you mean by light first. So light, as we know, that it's been since the beginning of the life, and it will be till the end of the life on Earth. So this is a very integral part of living being on Earth as we know of today. But what is light? Light, in different stages of life. In school, it is different for us. The definition is totally different, and for now, it is totally different. But basically, light is an energy, and it's an electromagnetic wave. That is what we can say. And also, it is the only thing which provides us vision. So, for general public, light is something that provides vision for us. So that is a very important part, and that's the reason in our evolution history, if you see from back, light has always fascinated us with various things. With various things, it has always fascinated us, right from the lightning and invention of fire, invention of then cooked food and all those things. It all started where something, somewhere it started with light and all. So from being a very integral part, today it's being it's somehow harming us rather than benefiting us. And why is that? We'll look in a while. What is the source of light for the Earth? As we know, the sun is the only source of light on Earth for majority of part. Okay, I do definitely agree that at night stars do cast light on Earth, and to such an extent that even you can see a shadow without any, even in the moonless night, even on the new moon day, you can see your shadow getting casted on the Earth. But only you need that amount of darkness, you need that dark space, and also your eyes should be adaptable to that. Unfortunately, we as human beings, and even there are some animals who are getting adapted to the changing surroundings and being lit by various lights on the street lights and various types of lights that we are using, artificial lights especially. So that is somehow changing their visual apparatus also, and even their biology to certain extent. Now, why do we need light? First basic thing, as we saw, is vision. Definitely, we will discuss it in a while. And second important thing is need for the health. Now, it provides us food. It provides us with various things, like we get vitamin D. This is something everybody knows very well, and it's very common thing. We think that only light is the source, but yes, that's something important. Improves our circadian rhythm. This is something we need to understand very well. What is circadian rhythm? This is a kind of clock, you can say, which keeps a track of day and night inside your body. This system secretes hormone. This system secretes various chemicals inside your body depending upon the lighting content. When the sun sets, there are different sort of chemicals being released. When the sun rises, there are different sort of chemicals released in your body. And because of that, we are today what we are. It's not like, only with light you can survive. You even need darkness. Darkness is as equally important as light is. So, sleep patterns, helping to focus, many other things associated with light, because there are various things I can't list it down. If I start making a list of it, it will go on forever kind of a thing. There are so many things we need light. One more important thing which I haven't mentioned over here, that is safety and security. We'll be covering it in the later part. So safety and security is something has forced us, or it has the fear factor of survival instinct. So that has somehow made us do things what we are doing today. Like, we are letting up our house, letting up our streets, letting up our premises, everything for that purpose. That is one of the biggest thing we are using light for. Now, vision, as I said, that is the first thing that comes into our mind when we talk about light, because that is because of what we see. Now, this is something few of them might be knowing what are rod cells and cone cells. If for the people who don't know, I'll just give you a small brief introduction. Cone cells are responsible for colors visible to us, and rod cells are responsible to see in the low lighting conditions. And if you can see towards the right side, the green part is the cone cells. That's the reason we see more into the day rather than night. And if you see for the nocturnal animals, the rod cells goes up. So the amount of rod cells they have in their eyes is so much. Like if we compare owl can see 5 times brighter than what we can see in the dark nights without any artificial lights around us, because of the rod cells they have in their eyes. So this definitely plays a very important role in understanding what light is. And today, what we are going to talk about is only visible light. Okay, we are not talking about any other spectrum of light other than visible light. Anything apart from visible light may be discussed in the later on sessions. So what is light pollution? It's a very general saying in India, at least. Anything and everything in excess is always going to be harmful. That's what is happening today. Today, we are using light everywhere, and to such an extent that it has started interfering with the ecosystem. To such an extent that I'll show you how adversely it has impacted, but still we are either ignorant or arrogant in any way. We are harming our own ecosystem, and we are killing our own future generation from that. But that doesn't mean it's very serious thing, unless and until we take some precautions. Now this is some seismic scale on the basis of which we can understand the level of light pollutions we have in our own city or suburbs or rural area mostly. Now they are definitely, before COVID, definitely no. After COVID, because of development and because of certain schemes by the government, even the rural areas are getting street lights, and they are getting overlit. And that's one thing, we are losing stars. And that's the main topic of our today's session, fading night sky. You guys might have heard about, or even if you if few of them not have heard, I'll let you know. In 1994, there was an earthquake in California. So because of that, there was a complete pitch dark. There was no light in the entire city, and people started getting scared. They started calling the observatory and 911, just looking up to the sky. That there was some fade object, cloud like object in the night sky they have never witnessed. So they were so scared, they started, or they were curious and scared both at the same time. So they started calling, and that was just Milky Way galaxy. They weren't able to recognize their own Milky Way galaxy. That's, see, I'm talking about 1994. Definitely, it's a developed country. USA is a developed country, but that's the situation of today we have over here. Although we are very much aware of it, that okay, this is Milky Way galaxy that's visible in the dark skies. In those days, awareness wasn't there. So definitely they were less aware, so they did had, and they panicked because of that. But today, even after knowing 80% of the population around the world in the cities are unaware of how does a dark sky actually looks. That's a sad part, but you will say, sir, what happens? Like, even if we don't see star, what's the problem? We are still okay with our life. We are surviving our life. We are enjoying our life. We are living our life. What's the big deal? That's okay. Like, that's not seems to be a pollution that is affecting our life. We'll see in a short while how it is affecting our life, and it's, I don't know, either we are really ignorant or arrogant in either of the way. What is light pollution? Light pollution is definitely excessive or poor use of artificial lights everywhere around us. And what are its effects? Disrupting the natural, pattern of wildlife, ecosystem, atmosphere. Now, how it is contributing to CO2. Because I'll give you an example of India. In India, still 60% of the electricity is produced by coal. So coal being, a natural resource, it does contributes to greenhouse gases. Carbon dioxide is one of it. And later on, we'll see how even light is impacting on global warming with its own effect. And other, like wildlife, consider wildlife. So we are into the wildlife, but we consider ourselves to be separate. But yeah, we are part of it. Now, what are the different types of light pollution? You might be thinking there is types also. Yes, there are types. Glare. What is glare? Glare is, usually for you, glare maybe when we are driving a vehicle. That's the best example for glare of light. If any vehicle that is coming from front, especially today, we have neon lights, neon LED lights, very bright and focused and whatnot kind of lights. Those lights, when we are driving with upper, so that's the glare that creates a visual discomfort or literally impairment. You can't see anything for seconds, maybe for a few seconds, but yes, your visual apparatus doesn't work for a second. When the light directly comes and hits your eyes, that's glare. Sky glow is something you will witness when you stay inside the city or even near the city, like the suburbs. You will see the sky glow, and because of sky glow, there is a lot of disturbance in the wildlife, especially the nocturnal birds and animals. They do misinterpret the sky glow as sunrise. That's one basic problem with this sky glow. Next is light trespass. Now trespass, as we can easily understand, it is crossing from the line which is it's supposed to be, like for example, we have street lights mainly to lit the streets, but they are trespassing our homes, they are trespassing your shop. So that is what is it. They are falling away from the area which they are supposed to lit. Clutter, they are excessive use of lights in a small space, that is clutter. And the best example of clutter is when you see a photograph taken from the space of any continent, of any country, of any city. If you see, you can see the clutters of light, how densely cities are overlit and how poorly lit the other areas are. So you can make a very big difference into it. The visual picturization of this, you can very clearly see. Glare is when the light directly hits your visual apparatus and it creates a discomfort. Light trespass, it's passing out even away from the the area where it is supposed to lit. Overlighting is actually clutter, so continuously cluttering light. And sky glow. Now sky glow, you can see other three visual presentation doesn't has a sky glow, so you can see the stars in the photographs. But when we come to sky glow, this is what happens. The night sky itself gets glowed. Mostly it is in the shade of orange or white, depending upon what kind of lights do we have around the city. But definitely it's a glow that will cover up the entire night sky, and all the stars will be gone. You can't see any of the stars from the city. That's the reason we have brought to sky scaling to understand. Now advanced civilization is definitely, this is one of the biggest impact for, or this is the biggest reason for light pollution. I'm not criticizing here that light is not good. Definitely light is a necessity. We need to understand light is a very integral part of our today's life. We cannot survive without light today. That's how we have dependent on light, especially the nightlife. So, fighting with absolutes won't work anytime. So we need to come up with some solutions. We need to come up with some understanding that yes, light is necessary, but what we can do to reduce the impact on the environment. That is what, and it's very simple. You just have to take few measures, nothing else. Now, because US being the most developed countries, you will see most of the research, most of the things, everything in science is done mostly upon USA. So I have a picture, an artistic picture definitely of USA, where you can see what was it like in 1950s, then 70s and 90s, and then today, or not today, I'll say next year or coming to after 2 years. This is how it's going to look like USA. So we can see the impact of light pollution created because of the development. That's the amount of light pollution it's going to be there. Now consider country like India, where the population we know and we have already crossed, and we are number one in population. So we have less land area, and the population is way, way, way more than USA. So you can imagine we don't even have the dark pockets that USA have today, because they are mostly concentrated towards the eastern side of the continent. You can very clearly see. But for India, we are mostly scattered in most of the parts around the India, apart from some of the Western Ghats and those kind of areas. Still, I'll say we have even came up with some ideas to even go over there and settle over there. Now, what are the effects of light? As I mentioned earlier, definitely there are some side effects when we use anything and everything in excess. Increasing energy consumption. The more the light, because people from 2000 or 90s may have seen the tungsten bulb, then the CFLs or incandescent bulbs, you can say, and today we have shifted to LEDs. So we say we have become energy efficient, but people don't understand that because we have become energy efficient, we have started using or overusing the LEDs. Earlier, we didn't used to use, like, because if anybody knows, earlier we used to use halogen lights for street lights. They used to be 250 watts, 500 watts of lights, and even way, way, way bigger than that. So that's a lot of energy. Believe me, that's a lot of energy to be consumed. So we used to use very less bulbs for that, or less lit streets, less lit house, inside house or outside house. But today, just because we have become energy efficient, we are taking it for granted and overusing it. So you can see we are everywhere using LEDs, and LEDs being into the blue spectrum of light, and the tungsten bulbs were more towards the red spectrum of light. It didn't had a very adverse effect. I won't say it didn't had, but it didn't had that amount of adverse effect that today's LEDs are having. Definitely LEDs are energy efficient, but also at the same time we need to understand they are moving towards the blue spectrum of light. I can't cover the entirety of it, but we need to understand blue spectrum. When I'm mentioning, it means UV light. We use today's specs and goggles which are UV protected. Why? Because it's harmful for us. So exposing ourselves to UV lights to such a great extent is definitely not good. Now, that doesn't mean we don't need UV light. Definitely we need UV light to some extent. That we are getting in the daytime because of sun. Already we are getting UV light, because some of the UV light does enters into the Earth's atmosphere and it hits the ground. We don't need for the entire time. The overexposure is definitely creating a problem. Disruption of the the entire ecosystem, including the wildlife, harming the human health, affecting the crime and safety. Now, this is the only thing which is into the plus point of effects of light. Other all are the negative sides or the negative part of the light. Crime and safety have reduced. The working of the nightlife has increased. Like, we can run our businesses, industries, and many other works even at the night time, which was not possible earlier before the invention of light or the bulb, especially. So this is definitely some of the advantages of the light, but we can see more than advantages, we have disadvantages, and that too like a silent killer. They are not very prominent that you can figure it out in a go. But yes, it is definitely impacting. And this is one of the most neglected thing or the effect of light, that is heat. Earlier, the incandescent bulb or the tungsten bulbs, yes, they used to heat a lot, a lot. But people say that the earlier bulb used to heat a lot, and comparatively LEDs are, they don't get heat up so much. But we need to understand the ratio, the amount of bulbs we used to use earlier and the amount of LEDs we are using today. Now, there are many things associated like population, advancement, and many things are associated with it. But yes, the consumption has gone up. So definitely the heat is also going up. And heat is the lowest form of energy. This is something we need to understand. So anything and everything that goes comes to heat, and somewhere it is impacting global warming. So this is the most neglected part of light that I'll try to bring out, and I want people to understand the effect of it we are creating on the globe. Maybe individually you don't feel it to that extent, but yes, it does have impact. If you don't believe me, you should go and touch any of the LED bulb in your home after you use it for 5-10 minutes. You can see how much heat it produces. Coming to next, adverse effect of light. Definitely, this is something most of them know, but I'll try to cover only one part of it, that is the impact of light on the hormone called melatonin. Now, this is the hormone that regulates the circadian rhythm, that is day and night. So this is something we need to understand. Now, this is present in, every creature does keeps this, track of day and night. Even if you go in the evolution in the back, when we started as a single cell organism. So once we started developing into multicellular, we did develop something known as photoreceptors. They were not eyes, but our skin was sensitive towards light. So we were able to understand the difference between day and night even in that period. So that is where we started with keeping the track of day and night. That's how long light has been associated with life. And just in last few decades, or I'll say centuries, not even century for the bulb introduction, but okay, last few decades, we have used or overused artificial light to such an extent that it has started impacting the entire globe and ecosystem around us. Once the melatonin in your body starts to, fluctuate just because of the exposure to the light, even to that matter, any animals and even plants, it will disrupt the ecosystem and their life cycle also. Like you will see few birds coming out, like koel, for example. It used to come up by 3:30 or 4, some like just seeing the sun glow or the sunrise light from the eastern side. But today you can see and hear koel even at the night, midnight, late night, because of the sky glow that we have. There are nocturnal animals, especially. Let's go one by one because I have prepared slides for that. Now, impact on human health. Name me any disease, any human health problem, and I'll associate with light pollution. That's the amount of impact it can create. And I'm not saying it's the only pollutant. Every pollution is creating an impact. But light is also one of them that we cannot escape from. Every single problem that we have or has been associated with our health, we can directly or indirectly associate with light pollution. That's the amount of impact it can create, because circadian rhythm is something you need to understand. Once it gets disrupted, every the best example is you have seen that musicians. There are musicians that instructs all the instruments to play in a particular synchronization. As his hands will move, all of them will synchronize his hands. So imagine that person is light. or that person is melatonin, and all the instruments that are around that person is your organs in your body. So if this gets disrupted, all the organs will operate, but it doesn't sounds good. The same way they won't be at their efficient. So we are becoming more less efficient to our previous generation. So I don't know how much you will agree upon it, but that's definitely not good. That's definitely not good if we are creating a generation which is less efficient, because we are trying to go up in technology wise. We are trying to build more efficient cars, more efficient light, more efficient technology. But this technology that we have and we are developing out of it, we are not paying attention for this. This needs to be upgraded first, then we can think about other things. So this is one of the definitely biggest impact that we need to understand. There are many examples in my own personal life. I have seen few of my friends and their children getting impacted because of light. Definitely one of my friend is there. The light spectrum I'm talking about is not visible light, but yes, it has created impact. So I can see many people around me that children are getting affected because of that. Because you need to understand, we as a generation has not been exposed to these things since our childhood. It's the today's generation that is getting impacted because of it. So we need to understand from their perspective, not from our perspective. We always see everything from our perspective. We need to understand we are generation which haven't, like, we have seen dark skies also, but today's generation is what is, going to suffer because of whatever is going on in excess. Okay. uh, Now few of the examples of wildlife, or how wildlife has or getting impacted. Now this is something was very, trendy, or like a very trending in last year or something like that, where we understood, or we people researchers have clearly made research how dung beetle follows or navigate its track looking to the Milky Way. So that was pretty fascinating, that such a small creature is, navigating through Milky Way. That was impossible to believe till the time we had made a research. So towards the left, you can see how researchers have tracked dung beetles and wild, and the dung beetle in the light pollution area. We can see towards the right side how chaotic their paths are. They are so lost, they cannot track Milky Way galaxy. And if there is no Milky Way galaxy visible to them, they cannot track their path. Because see, you need to imagine, first of all, they are walking backwards, okay? So they can't see anything. You need to imagine that, like okay, today's car do have cameras at the back. Imagine the cars that didn't have cameras. You have to take reverse by looking forward, not looking into the mirrors, not looking into the in the back. That's how the dung beetle is moving, and it still moves in a very straight direction, just looking up to the Milky Way galaxy. So that's how precise, and they have developed their own ecosystem. I'm not saying all the dung beetles do that. Every dung beetle species have their own way of navigating. Some of them use stars, some of them use some sort of lights, different spectrum of light. Some of the use Milky Way galaxy. So that's how, but they use light from nature. That's how they navigate. Now, second is the most, because this is something I have witnessed. This is something people from 80s and 90s have witnessed a lot, and they can very clearly see this difference. Maybe this comes as a part of a joke, but you need to understand the seriousness of it. In 80s and 90s, if you have to drive even 100 kilometers, maybe you would have to take 2 or 3 stops just to clean your windshield. That was the amount of insects in that time. And today, even if you travel the entire India, I'm pretty sure you don't have to even get one time from your vehicle for insects. Maybe for other things, yes, like pollution and dust and all, but definitely not for insect. That's the amount of insects and pollinators, especially the nocturnal pollinators, we have impacted. This is really very serious. Very serious. This is what we have seen, and we can clearly define, especially the elder generations. So you need to understand and be very responsible in using the light in and around. At least start with your own home. If people are not ready to listen, it's okay. At least start with your own home. Try to understand the importance for your own family first. Sea turtles again are the next best example. The turtles do give, they lay eggs near the shore, and hatchlings or the small young ones, they follow again the sunrise or the moon for going towards the sea. Unfortunately, they do get misleaded by the street lights or any of the lights or even the sky glow as sunlight, and they may go in the opposite direction of the sun. So they may die because of dehydration or even because of predators, and maybe even to some extent they can get killed because of the vehicles that run on the streets. So that's a very sad part, and this is something people have witnessed in COVID, because all the coastal areas around the India or anywhere around the world, we saw animals or wildlife coming and making their own ecosystem over there. So you can understand, just 3 months the activities was closed, and every creature, we saw dolphins in the Arabian Sea, we saw all around the coastal area of India, we saw turtles laying eggs, and it was fascinating. People were fascinated by the kind of witnessing them. So you can understand the impact of light and human footprint we are creating on nature. Nocturnal birds, definitely, as I said right now, owls can see 5 times brighter, at least 5 times brighter than what we can see. So imagine the kind of nightjar is one of them. You can, the wildlifers, if there are any wildlife lover out there, they know very well. Nightjar is a bird. If you, just use a flashlight over him, it won't move at all, because nightjar cannot see anything in the presence of light. That's how its eyes is evolved. It can only see in dark. In daytime, it's very difficult for him to see around it. So you will see, he will be, he will, if you just turn on your torch, it will freeze. Fortunately, unfortunately, people do that just to take photographs, and it's okay, like out of curiosity, but we need to understand overdoing again harms their eyes, because it's ultimately dark time, and directly exposing light to their eyes definitely harms them, the same way as we get harmed. If you come from a very bright sunlight into a room or in your house, you can see how it takes time for your eyes to adapt. So for them also it takes time, and we never know, is there any predator sitting around and watching them, and as and when we just turn off our torch and move on, we never know what happens behind us. So we need to understand the impact of whatever steps we are doing in and around us. Now again, plants, definitely plants produce food in the presence of light, so even light present in the night time is definitely going to impact their cycle. They're still, they're not going into the dark mode where they are supposed to. Like cleansing happens in our body at the night when we sleep in the dark, the same thing happens with every other creature on the earth. So that's something we need to understand, the impact of on every single creature. Marine life also have the same impact, although it's not to that extent, because we haven't started settling inside water. So definitely marine life doesn't has that amount of impact, but yes, it has started impacting marine life also. So that is what I'll say for today's most diverse effect of light. So let's talk about solutions. What are the solutions? And solutions are so simple. This is the only pollution in all the pollutions which we can get rid of with a snap of a finger. Just snap of a finger, because just we need to alter our lights. That's it. We can put shield on it, we can use reflectors on it, we can change the angle of our light, and we are done. Half of the pollution is just done. We can simply avoid half of the pollution. That's the that's how simple light pollution is, to get rid of it, or just cover it up. So let's see what is healthy light. Definitely at this point I'll say we can opt for the best all around the world. At least let's opt for bad or better. It's better than worst. Bad is better than worst. At least this is the solution for today's situation, for today's generation or the today's era. Bad is better than worst. So let's take the first step. Let's try to cover up our lights. That will be the first step. Then making aware people around us will be the second step, and then starting to making aware people all around your city. Then try to increase your radius slowly, but start with your own self. Try to think how you can avoid all the type of light pollution I have mentioned earlier, like the four types I have mentioned: the glare, clutter, sky glow, and light trespass. How you can avoid these things. And it's very simple. People from 80s and 90s may be correlating this to a very great extent. Earlier we used to cover up headlights of our vehicles, half of the headlights, with some black color or black strap or black anything, but we used to cover it just to make sure that whenever the front vehicle is coming, or if a person is walking, so he doesn't gets blinded, or he or she doesn't gets blinded because of the light of the vehicle it has. So as we are getting more educated, are we losing our sense? Because it should have it should have spread all over it. And there is still a law. I'm not sure, because I'm not an expert on it. I don't know. Still we have a law of that, covering your headlight. I don't know, but we should have used it to a very great extent everywhere, apart from vehicles also, on the street lights, on the balcony lights, or any outdoor lights. We should have some sort of rules and regulations, so that at least people will start using light properly, or more sensibly. That is the only solution, I'll say. Again, as I mentioned, bad is better than worst. Here I can say today's light, especially the LEDs light, are moving, or they are more tilted towards the UV light, that is ultraviolet spectrum of light. And the bulbs, or the those were towards the right side, that is the infrared side of the light spectrum. So I'm not denying that they were good, but at least they were bad. They were not worst. LEDs are worst kind of lights for today. Now you can witness it when you're driving a vehicle, when you're moving around. You can imagine the amount of light that falls on your eyes and discomfort that creates. Imagine for the nocturnal animals, which are having more rod cells, which can see more bright in the dark, and if such light falls into their eyes, what kind of impact it might create on them. This is one of the solution also. Now, rather going on the high luminance, you can go, this is morely kelvins. So as the kelvins will go, decrease, the same way the lumens also decrease. So I was talking about lumens, but yes, kelvins, you can say, opt for the kelvins less than 4,000. Don't go beyond 5,000. That's the kelvins which is not at all good for anyone. Apart from required, where it's necessary, then yes, you should use it. But places where it's not necessary, you can go for 3,000, 2,000 kelvins also. Yes, definitely, I do agree, it does reduces the lumens power, but we need to understand even it reduces the adverse effect of it. So at least and moreover, it's good for you, because insects doesn't get attracted towards the yellow spectrum, or red spectrum of light, as much as they do get towards the white spectrum of light. So again, it's a plus point for you to such extent. Almost we are done. This is something, just awareness, that you should always use low beam as much as possible, and especially if someone is coming from the front, because this is, I have always faced traveling all around in India. Doesn't matter, even if you are traveling inside the city, people use high beams. I don't understand, why do you need high beam inside the city? High beams are only for highways, because you need to see a long distance, because you are traveling at a great speed. But when you are inside the city, you know very well you're not going to cross a particular limit of speed, and also it's properly lit everywhere. So you do not need high beams, but still we use high beams. Now this does create an impact on human beings, but also to the wildlife around us. So let's start using low beam. and let's start making awareness the importance of low and high beam. That's all I'll say for, from my side about the solution. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you can opt for red color. Fortunately, today we have lights of multicolor. You can easily change color with your mobile phone. That's, that kind of lights also we have today in our homes. So why not to prefer red light at night time as much as possible? I'm not saying use always, even for reading, definitely no. But we'll start using, especially astronomers knows this very well. We use red light especially when we are going outside in the dark skies, because we want to spot things around us, we want to arrange things around us, but we can't afford to use white light because that impacts our eyes. And for human beings, it takes at least 30 minutes to adjust to the dark skies. Maybe for the lighting condition, it may take 30, 40 or 1 minute, 2 minutes. But for the dark skies, it almost takes 30 minutes for your eyes to get adjusted. So definitely it's something every amateur astronomers and astronomers knows about it. So they preferably use red light only in all of their sessions and things. And also it less impacts the melatonin. The blue light will impact more compared to the red light. So it's again bad is better than worst kind of a situation. This is a bit of sensitive topic. I won't be too much focusing upon it, but yes, we need to change some part of our cultural values also to some extent. Although I'll say, and I do agree, that India has been one of the country where I have seen even the dark is considered to be gods. Like we have Kali, we have Shiv, the other face of Shiva. So yes, we do celebrate dark also. We do consider them good also, because we do understand as much as important the creator is, even the destroyer plays the role of it. So they both are equally important. We do understand that. But there is a way of communicating, dark is not good. And especially mothers, especially, I'm not being sexist over here, I'm not being gender biased, but mothers do they use this thing when their child is not listening to them. खा ले नहीं तो भूत आ जाएगा, नहीं तो अंधेरे में तेरे को मैं रख दूंगी, and kind of things they use to create a fear factor inside. So we need to understand the long term impact of it on psychological part, and that's the reason most of the children are scared of dark. Everyone will agree upon this. Maybe as you grow, you overcome your fear, but definitely till some age you definitely are scared of darkness. That's because of the kind of the culture we create around us. So being elder and being, even I'll say anyone, any person, even if you're young, just understand the impact of kind of cultures and words you are using around you. Let's start using dark as a good way. It's not always evil, it's not always bad, and light is always not good. Using light excessive is bad. That is what we need to create. We need to understand, we need to use these words always now. Everything and anything in excess is harmful. That is what we need to start using, rather than using light is good and dark is bad kind of a thing. Let's jump into some beautiful stories, because India is filled with stories. Now, Saptarishi, or the Big Dipper, this is Artemis of the great bear constellation in the northern hemisphere. So unfortunately, southern hemisphere they do not witness this, especially the most southern part of the southern hemisphere. But we, being into the northern hemisphere, we do enjoy Saptarishis or the Big Dipper. So we have a story of Saptarishis. Those are the disciples of Shiva. That is how we have created the story. Now take it on the lighter side, please. Don't go too much into it, and don't like be on the extremist, either on the right or the left party. Okay, just be on the lighter terms and enjoy the story. Understand they were created just to create a light moments during the night times, and even to memorize things. So there were 7 rishis and Saptarishis. Those were considered, and there is a story Like they were doing Havan one day, and Agni came and were doing helping Saptarishis for all the rituals and puja and everything. So he was very much engrossed into the puja. So he was not very observant of Swaha. Swaha is a girl. She was a bit attracted and was she liked Agni. So Agni was busy doing his ritual with the Saptarishi, and he observed that the wives of Saptarishis were so dedicated to them that every single point they were helping each other for every kind of ritual. So he was very much impressed by the way they had coordination, understanding for each other. So after the the Havan, a simple thought that I wish I had wife like them. He felt bad. He felt, this is something I should have not even imagined about. So he went for penance, like हम उसको बोल सकते हैं पश्चाताप के लिए. So he went in the jungles for the penance, and she followed, like the Swaha followed him. She saw him going into the jungles for and she knew what all was going on. Now she knew that Agni liked Arundhati more in all those seven females, the wives of Saptarishi. He liked Arundhati more comparatively, because the kind of the bonding Vaishishta and Arundhati had, he observed, and he liked it. So Swaha, what she did is she took the form of Arundhati, and they went into the jungles, they married, they had children. That's completely different story. He knew that she is not Arundhati, because he was very clear that Arundhati is so much dedicated to Vaishishta, she will never ever look on me. So that's a completely different story. But yes, that is the part of the story. And then when Saptarishi came to know about these kind of things, they abandoned their wives. Apart from Vaishishta, all the six they abandoned, and today we see these six wives of Saptarishis in the Kritika nakshatra, in the Taurus constellations, known as Pleiades. So Pleiades is considered to be Kritika, and there is again associated one more story, maybe for the coming next session. But yes, this is a small story of at least what I know, because I know there are various stories even in India. I'm pretty sure at least there will be 5 to 6 stories of just Saptarishis in different parts of India. So I'll definitely look forward for people. If you have some different stories, you can connect with me on social media and let me convey me these stories. I'm most interested in stories, especially of the night sky. I'm very much interested into it. I'll show you some photographs, but I'm done with my session. And we can start with Q&A if you want. There are 3-4 images. Just be ready with your questions, and we'll start with the Q&A session shortly. Now, this is a photograph I've recently taken last month when I went, like just the beginning of the summers. I went outside in the suburbs. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to capture, like, since more than a month or a half. The clouds and the kind of weather conditions there are, it's making impossible, at least for me, to take photographs of the night sky. That's very sad part, because Milky Way is visible mostly beautifully in 2 times, that is summers and winters. Winters are not very fortunate because cloud cover is there many a times, and also there is like mist and all, and that matters. Humidity does matters. So summers are the best, but unfortunately this year maybe I won't be able to capture. Now this is Chinese space station. You can see a line, that is a long exposure photograph taken with the mobile phone. Again, both the photographs were taken from the mobile phone, the Milky Way also and this also. But here you can very prominently see the sky glow. The center part of the image, you can see, it is a big pinkish or purplish kind of a tinge it has. So that's actually the sky glow. That's the light of the city which makes the star disappear. That is what impacts the nocturnal life around the world. Now this is something beautiful, occultation took place just this year, Moon and Venus occultation. So that definitely was pretty beautiful. And sun halo is something again I witnessed on 14th of April over here. So again, that was pretty beautiful. So these are few phenomenons that goes around us, and you should enjoy it. It's fabulous. It's mesmerizing when we see around us. And yes, there are some projects. If you want to participate, Globe at Night, International Dark Sky Association do conduct some sessions, awareness campaign, and few of they have their astrophotography contests, and science starters also, they have some project. And also there is dark skies map, where you can go and easily get what kind of night sky do your city has, or what bottle, or what limit of pollution or stars you can see in your city. So thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much to all the viewers and participants today's and Hex-Star Universe and as a citizen scientist for giving me the platform and opportunity to communicate this with the people around me, and none other than Cruxview Center, my own organization. Thank you very much, guys. I end my session over here and let the platform be open for Q&A if anyone has it. Any questions, any doubts about anything related to our topic. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir, for this wonderful session and wonderful presentation. Now, I think we can move on to our Q&A session for today. So participants, if you have any question, please feel free to ask your question by turning on your mic, or also you can write in the chat and I will read out the questions.
Amit Raka, good evening. I am Sukumar.
Yes, very good evening, Sukumar.
Okay, you have been talking. You have talked about the night sky campaign, dark sky campaign in Western countries.
Yeah.
What I found is, even I initiated this through my social media thing. You know how many people read that? I don't know how many people read. Only 2 people had liked and commented.
Absolutely.
So we are, and the funny thing is, I have tagged so many amateur as well as astronomers. It's very sad, but we are not in a position to get people in. Unfortunately, we follow so many Western country things,
Exactly.
but not this particular thing.
Very true. Very true.
So we should start making some headway into this, and I shall be willing to join this. I would like to join the campaign if there is going to be a dark sky campaign in India.
Yes, yes, definitely, sir. Sir, the problem is there are few, people who are taking efforts against, awareness of these kind of, because I have few of my friends who have started in their own cities, they have started making awareness campaigns, and even they have reached to, government bodies, and they have started working with the government bodies. So only thing is we need to coordinate our efforts. The problem is we are doing it bits and pieces. So definitely, even I'll be looking forward for some coordination and some collaboration, because united we stand. It's that kind of saying, united we stand and divided we fall. So definitely at this point we need to stand, and we need to support each other, help each other, make awareness about it, because it's very important for our future generation. Every kind of pollution we are having. And today again I am saying, guys, I have only spoken about the visible spectrum of light. And we know very well today that the visible spectrum of light is not even 5% of actual light spectrum. So that's the amount of problems we have started creating around us when we use it in excessive use of it. Yes. Are there any other questions? Manish and Somjit?
So my question is that, so last year I captured Milky Way from bottle third, and this year I is unable to capture from Milky Way from bottle third yesterday night.
Okay, okay. See, mostly maybe, although it is new moon day, so the sky should be pretty dark. But one of the biggest reason, at least for now in India, is the weather condition. I can see there is continuously a thin layer of haze every single night. Even it seems for our eyes, it's clearly, pretty clear sky. But when we start photographing, that time you realize that there is a haze that is creating a problem, because that haze is reflecting the artificial lights back to Earth. So it multiplies. There is something known as stacking. So when you stack the images, or when you take a long exposure, so everything multiplies. The starlight will multiply, but at the same time the impact of our own artificial light will also multiply, and it will create a problem in the image. So you won't be able to see the the details in the Milky Way. But fortunately, if I'm not wrong, even After midnight, you can see Milky Way right in the eastern sky. It has risen very high in the night sky, so it's pretty beautiful. We just have to wait for the clear skies.
So for stacking, we need JPEG or raw image.
Mostly prefer raw. JPEG doesn't has a lot of information in it. You
So
can get
but
a better image,
unfortunately,
definitely. Like a single
so
JPEG
but
image.
un,
Yes.
so but unfortunately, my camera does not enable raw JPEG. So can you suggest me an app that enable raw, just like
Uh,
Deep Sky?
which
So I
which
use
device you are using? It's a DSLR or it's a mobile phone?
so smartphone.
It's a smartphone. Then definitely, most of the smartphone today do provide a raw image facility. There are a few companies which doesn't. Like Samsung is one of them. So there may be few of them which don't provide raw thing, but it's okay. You can even use JPEG because see, as I mentioned, stacked JPEG is better than a single JPEG. Definitely. You can use Deep Sky Stacker only. That's the one of the best software, I'll say. Go for
So
flash.
I use Deep Sky camera. So I use Deep
Acha.
Sky camera
Oh,
that enable
okay,
raw.
okay, okay. And oh, that, yeah, definitely
So it
that
is
is
good.
good. Definitely that is way better than mobile. Do take some flats and darks and include in your stacking. That will definitely give a very beautiful touch to your images.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I once again I'm Sukumar.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
See, if there are any chance of forming a group like Dark Sky Indians group, I
Yes.
would be, as I said earlier, I would be willing to join because all these years, till 2022, I was in Bombay. I was deprived of having a night sky, dark sky, and I thought, okay, I'm shifting to south, and here too, I'm in a small town. Even
Yes.
I can't see the dark night.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
Nearly from the horizon, you can say 20 degrees up. You can have that
Sky
pollution.
glow. Yes. Yes.
My
Exactly.
God, very,
Very,
very, very bad.
very.
All the events which had happened from May 2022 to last 2 months, I could not do anything. Only around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, I can see the moon. I take photograph of moon. That's all.
Very true. Very true, sir. That's something even everybody have experienced. I'm pretty sure. Even I have experienced that.
Hello, sir.
Yes. Yes.
Sir, can I join Hex-Star universe?
That is something Somjit may answer you for that, but yes, definitely you can join at any point of time. It's a very good organization, and they take beautiful, sessions and all those things.
And can I host webinars for Hex-Star universe?
That is something I'm pretty sure Somjit is there. You can answer his question.
Yeah, I can answer. Yeah, Mr. Proton, you can contact us on our social medias, or also you can contact us on through email, and let us know what you are interested about and what you want to do, and we can talk about it or discuss about it further there. We will share our email ID in the chat.
So my
Okay, sir.
last question is so my last question is that, sir, can I capture Milky Way from bottle 4? Sir, currently I live in bottle 4.
My dear, definitely yes. The Milky Way photograph that I have shown you of my mobile phone is captured from 5 Brotal sky. Imagine from 4 you will get more beautiful, way more beautiful than what I got from the 5 and 5.5. Try to go away from your place or away from the suburbs or urban, or even if you are in the rural area, try to go away from the lights, because yes, in India it's getting littered and overlitted everywhere. Doesn't matter it's a small village or what, every street is, it's necessity. See, I'm not denying it's not necessary, but the way it has been used is definitely something we need to worry about. And if there are some government people in this session, I'll definitely request them, show us a pathway that we can, start making awareness in the government sectors, and especially the people on the higher positions, to make them understand what light is creating an impact on the entire globe. We will try to put our efforts, maximum efforts, as much as we can, because yes, definitely that's necessary today, because there are countries around the world who have opted for it. Like, they have made rules, they have made strict rules to save the dark skies. And even we have made a dark sky sanctuary. Everybody might have heard, because that was a very big news
How
around
many
India.
hours can go to
Hanley
Leh?
is something, Ladakh, as we are developing a dark sky sanctuary over there. It's, to some extent it's fortunate, but to some extent it's unfortunate, because we have to create a sanctuary. Earlier we didn't had that need, because we just have to move away from the city and you could see the dark skies, literally a very good dark skies. I'll say too brutal dark sky could have been witnessed from, away from the suburbs and the village and whatever you say. But today, unfortunately, everywhere we have highways, every highway has been lit up by LEDs and, sort of lights, and that's definitely creating a very big impact. So we have to switch our research over there. Yes, and someone was saying something. Okay, the stage is all over to you, Somjit. Back again.
Okay, so if anyone have any more question, please feel free to ask your question.
Yes, so I think Devendra Kumar has a question.
Good evening, sir. Hello, good evening, sir.
Okay. Yes, Somjit, you can continue.
Yes, so I think Devendra Kumar have a question. Has a question. So
Sir, I am audible, sir.
Yes, loud and clear.
Thank you. Sir, I just want to say that Shri Amit Raka ji doing very great job in this field, and the session is very valuable and very good for us. And my uh, son Hemant Kumar is also listening to your session, and your experience and your scientific temperament. Thank you so much. Very thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you, dear. Thank you so much for your kind words, and that's really great. Thank you very much.
So on this note, I think we'll be ending our session here for today. First of all, I want to thank Amit sir for this wonderful session. I think all of us learned a lot about our fading night sky, and we're really mesmerized from the session. And also, I think everyone is now aware of the problems and we are facing currently. So it was a great learning session. Secondly, I would like to thank our collaborator, as a Citizen Science Group. Thank you for helping us organizing this session. And lastly, I would like to thank all our participants for joining the session and attending the session with so much of enthusiasm and making it a really successful session for everyone. Also, we hope to bring many more sessions like this for in the future for everyone. So we also stream this session on our YouTube channel. So you can also watch this session again on our YouTube channel. And also we'll be bringing live streaming many more sessions like this. So don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also let us know about how you felt about this session and your feedbacks. We'd love to know that and make ourselves much better than we are today. Also, with this, on this note, we'll be ending our session here. Thank you, everyone. Okay, I'm really sorry. Lastly,
Sir, please answer.